Where do we book? Can we book World Series flights yet, Wiggy? Are we?
I think you can,
Okay,
but
we're not sure of the destination. We don't know who we're going to get in the World Series. I am. Are you back in? Well, I guess you were never gone because of the bag of merch, giant bag of merch that was given to you.
I'm back in.
You're back in?
Yes, Brayan Bello did that for me yesterday. I understand it's the Rockies, but at the same time, just feels like, I'm going to say it, the vibes are back.
Okay, it's a vibe thing.
It's a vibe thing for me.
It's a vibe thing.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a vibe thing.
I just think that, their bats are waking up. Their pitching has been, relatively solid when we talk about Bello and Giolito and obviously Garrett Crochet. But their bats are waking up. Trevor Story looks good.
Thank God we didn't follow the advice of some and kick him to the curb, DFA him, or whatever the solution was.
Roman Anthony looks good. I mean,
Jarren Duran.
Yep. Shimes' boy, Ceddanne Raffaella. I mean, it's, this team they're getting things going, and I understand it's the Rockies, but you proved that you could beat the Yankees, and you proved that you could beat Tampa.
And you know what? But I don't even want to hear people say, oh, it's only the Rockies. And I know I just did that, but there were so many times last season where they played down against bad teams. It's good that they're crushing bad teams. That's what you want to see. I mean, if you win 10-2, that is a good win regardless of the team that you're against. And for so long, the Red Sox have played up to talent and played down to talent. The fact that they are beating teams they're supposed to beat is a good thing.
This is Alan from Nashville, first up this morning. Hello, Alan.
Hey, Greg. This is my mea culpa call. I called about a month ago and said that I've given up on the Red Sox and I'll never talk about them again, watch them, and I'm moving on to preseason NFL, and I'm in. I'm back in, baby.
Now,
I'm a hypocrite, whatever you want to call me.
Yeah. Answer the question, Alan, answer the question of the texter on the Subaru of New England text line who says, how can you be back in when they are just beating garbage teams? So answer that question.
Well, they lose to garbage teams. They beat the best team in baseball, the Yankees, and I have no idea what this team is, but I know I'm back in. I don't care. You can call me whatever you want. I don't have the Subaru text line at my house, so I can't get the messages, but I'm in. I'm in, baby.
Okay.
Bring me back in.
All right. Alan he put him on the side of those who are back in. So thank you, Alan.
Yeah, I don't like baseball. Baseball is so much different when you go like the good teams, the bad teams. Like Colorado they stink. They playing awful. But last night their starting pitcher, cruises through 6 innings, and it's a close game, and then the bleeder by Trevor Story, turns it into a 1-run game. So, there's an opportunity that a team, even though they're not very good, could beat you just based on the performance of maybe the pitcher that night or if the bats are going. And then you open it up, obviously, in the bottom of the 6th and the bottom of the 7th. But I don't really I look at it like if you can get good outings by your pitcher and your bats hitting the baseball, you're going to have a chance to win every series that you play in, regardless of who you're playing against. Yeah. But if you don't do that, it don't matter who you're playing, there's a good chance you could lose.
No, and this next series, you got a pretty good test. So you have a chance sooner than later to see what this team might actually be at this point.
Well, yeah, and then you can leapfrog one of the teams that is holding a wild card spot right now in the Tampa Bay Rays and put yourself in a great position come All-Star break.
Yeah.
Because after the All-Star break, I think that you have some pretty good that you're facing the Dodgers, and I think there's another series that you have against a good team. So you got to, at the beginning, make sure you're able to do some things. So come trade deadline, like Sam Kennedy said, if this team is a team that's above 500 and is legitimately in the race, they're going to do stuff.
Okay. Well, a lot to get to on this morning's show. Shime, is it going to be another hot one? I know Curtis isn't here. Curtis is on some sort of a 7-week sabbatical or something like that in Hawaii. Struggling, obviously, to foot the bill for the vacation. But you in his stead, if you could, are we getting to 90 again, or what's the situation out there?
No,
today?
not quite today, Greg. The high is only about 75 today, so it's going to be much cooler, cloudier, but there's also a chance of thunderstorms throughout the course of the day.
Okay, excellent. On the show this morning, Leeds in about 15 minutes or so, and I assume we will get one from Jackson in Curtis's absence. So Leeds coming up. Then they set it at 7:20, and that is a quick back and forth on what they said yesterday in sports, and we will certainly discuss what Will Clark said about being ghosted by Rafael Devers, and a giant back and forth going on currently on whether you're Team Devers or you are Team Will Clark.
I mean, Devers has turned into Bane. Like, he is the enemy.
Well,
he is.
I don't know that he's the enemy, but I think it's fair.
People are jumping on. It's cool to hate Devers.
Why wouldn't you jump on?
Because I just think it's interesting timing over and over again, that there's more and more coming out about the guy. It's like, oh, one person started. Ortiz, sorry.
I saw Curtis on social media last night all over this and about how it's a smear campaign by the Boston Red Sox. And I'm sorry.
Doesn't Will Clark do stuff for the San Francisco Giants?
He's talking about how the news came from Will Fleming.
The only reason the news came from Will Fleming is because he was asked a question about it by Hart and Fitzy.
Yeah. I mean, I take Will Clark at his word. I mean, we're going to hear what he says about it. And so he's sort of, I mean, he's not fully throwing Devers under the bus, but I mean, it's clear that Devers blew him off.
Not once, not twice.
Throwing him under. I mean, he's
him,
throwing him under a pedicab.
Well, no, he gives him. Have you heard the
audio?
Yeah. He gives him an excuse. I mean, he helps. I think he tries to help Rafael Devers out a little bit. I don't know.
I think with Devers, it's all self-inflicted, because even with the Will Fleming stuff, he says something, and then you have Will Clark that comes out and just basically goes, okay. And then you go, oh, so what Will Fleming said was true.
Right.
You know, so I don't think that it's any smear campaign or anything like that. I just think that it's all self-inflicted, especially based on what Devers said when he got to San Francisco, how he'd be willing to do anything.
Yeah.
And, and it seems like just maybe that might not necessarily be the case.
Does he sound like the kind of guy Jermaine Wiggins, would want to have as a teammate?
I mean, he doesn't sound like that type of guy, but his production isn't at the level where you could go, all right, we can live with this attitude. Like, if you're out there and you're tearing the cover off the ball, or you're like an elite performer, like, whatever, that's who he is. He's a DB, he's a douche, but he's talented.
Sean kind of alluded to it yesterday, or maybe even said it yesterday. Sadan Rafaela is outperforming Rafael Devers since his departure here.
Yeah, by a landslide.
By a margin, by a large margin. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think that people reveal themselves to be what they are. And that in the long run, as I said at the time, I think he's the kind of guy that you did not want to build your entire franchise around for the next 8 to 10 years.
Well, they just look like a different team. Like, even in the dugout after somebody gets a hit, there's just this, like, I don't know, they just look like they got the guy out that maybe, not that they don't like him, but maybe was just...
There was a weird period after he left, though, that they were not like that. It wasn't
But it wasn't long, though.
No, but I don't want there to be recency bias where we're saying, Devers hit the road and all of a sudden everybody was kumbaya. That wasn't the case.
Right, but they weren't, like, walking around.
Sucked.
But they sucked when he was here. Like, but they
were actually performing pretty well before he got shipped.
They had one stretch where they performed well.
And that was right before he left.
Yeah.
Right, but prior to that stretch, they sucked.
Okay, so they had figured it out with him?
No.
So that's why it's confusing to me, because you can't say right now, oh, it's like the vibes are different.
No.
They are different, but there was a period after he left where the vibes were still bad. So I don't think you should put it on Devers that he was the vibe killer.
But after he left, they won a series against, I believe it was Seattle, right? And then they lost to
The Giants.
and they hit a little bit of that like 5 or 6 game losing streak. My point is that they just they're like their energy and their facial expressions, their body language, and the way it just looks different.
I agree. I just don't think it's Devers.
Meaning they look like they've been freed from whatever was bothering them when he was around.
Right. We like that guy. He was a great player for our team, but there was just there was this black cloud over him. And now that he's gone, it's no longer there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will have the opportunity to get into the Will Clark, Rafael Devers stuff during They Said It. We are going to hear from Brad Stevens, who spoke yesterday during They Said It, and more coming up at 7:20 on this morning's show. The news with Courtney coming up at 7:45, and that includes Florida, not like the rest of us. And, of course, a celebration of a 57th birthday in the Anything Goes state is not complete without meth and the theft of a public transportation vehicle. I would guess. Mm-hmm. So